All right, so this is the A version, and there's a B version of the test, and actually they have the same answers as A and B. So if you're as you're working on practicing for the test on the other side, you can check your answers because they should have the same answers. Basically, an overview of this test is that we're going to factor everything and cancel on most problems. Okay, so then this very first one, that's kind of how we approach it: is factor the top, factor the bottom, and then cancel. So I have to do X box for the top, X box for the bottom, and then go from there. So I come off to the side and I say, well, that would be 15 and 16, because 3 and 5 times give me that, and then 16 is in the middle. What times it gives me 15 but adds it gives me 16 is 15 and 1. Okay, so then I can make my box. And it's 3x squared, 15x, 1x, and 5. And hopefully at this point we really know how to factor this part. So I'm kind of going to go really quick there. And on the top here, I end up with 3x plus 1 and x plus 5. And now I got to factor the bottom. The bottom, I have a 3 and a 4. So that's negative 12 and a negative 11. So that's 12 and 1, where the 12 is negative. Make my box. 3x squared, negative 12x, 1x, negative 4, 3x, x, negative 4, 1. Again, I flew through that because hopefully at this point we know how to factor. Okay. And then once I have them factored form, all I got to do is if there's one on the top and one on the bottom that match, I cancel it out. And so this is what we're left with. You do not have to have parentheses around them because there's only one thing on the top and one thing on the bottom. So that's the answer to number 1. Number 2. So now this is where it's a little bit, we're going to approach it a different method. So this is adding. Okay. So adding, we have to have the bottoms be the same. Okay. And basically what I'm going to do is I have an x plus 5 and I have an x minus 3. And I need to have both of them have that. So I'm going to go ahead and give the left side an x minus 3. And the right side already had an x minus 3. Okay. And I have to put an x plus 5. And this side needs an x plus 5. Okay. So on the first one, the thing that's different is this x minus 3. So I have to put that on top. The top's going to get an x minus 3. Okay. And there was already a 3 there from that 3 there. So I write it like that. Then over here, there was already a 2 there. I guess I can make that a different color. So this is the 3 that was already there. This is the 2 that was already there. And what's new is this red thing. So I'm going to put it up there as well. Okay. Then I'm going to distribute in the top and I get 3x minus 9 and 2x plus 10. And now that the bottoms are the same, I can write that as one bottom. And it doesn't matter the order of this. I can do x minus 3, x plus 5 first, or the way I wrote it here, x plus 5, x minus 3. And then I got to clean up the top. I got a 3x and a 2x. So I got 5x, a negative 9, a positive 10. So I got a 1 all over x plus 5, x minus 3. Okay, so all I had to do is get them to match on the bottom like I did here. Okay, and go for there. If I were you and I was taking this test, I would do the addition here first, and then I would jump down to the subtraction because they're the most alike, and then I would do the other two. So here's this. I'm going to keep, I've got a 6, I got a 1, okay? I have an x plus 3, and I have an x minus 3. So this is just like the other one because it's got the subtraction here. The subtraction. So the left one needs an x minus 3, so I'm going to sneak that in and then give it to the top. And the right one needs an x plus 3. So even though they're the same number, we have to have that plus or minus there. Now, the one other mistake that a lot of people make on the subtraction one is that this minus, I like to change it to a plus and throw that minus up there. Okay. Then I can go ahead and distribute this in. I get 6x minus 18. I get negative 1x minus 3. And now, because the bottom again is the same, I can just write it one time and then clean this up, and I get 5x minus 21, x plus 3, x minus 3. So I would do the plus and minus one first because they're the same in how you approach them. Then I would go and do the multiplication and the division. The multiplication and division is just like the actual first one we did. So we factored everything and cancel. So this one here, I'm going to factor everything and I'm going to cancel. So I'm going to have, and really everything on top, I'm going to just, because it's multiplication, I'm going to write that as 1 bar. Okay. And this thing I don't need to factor. And I'm allowed to write it as 1 bar once I have it in factored form. So technically I'm not supposed to do that, but that's kind of the idea. So I'm going to go off and I'm going to factor this right here. So I come down here and I say negative 66, negative 5. So I'm going to grab a calculator, start playing with this number here. Two numbers that multiplied is 66, negative 66. But so 11 and 6, where 11's negative. Okay. So then I make my box. I have 2x squared, negative 11x, 6x, negative 33, negative 11, 2x, x, 3. Okay. So that top thing there became a 2x minus 11 and an x plus 3. Okay, and now I'm going to factor this one here. So I've got 6 and 5, 2 and 3, x squared, 2x, 3x, 6x, x, 2, 3. I know I'm going super fast, but that's because I think we should know this. And if you need to, pause or slow down the video, that's fine. And then finally, this last one here. Kind of didn't give myself enough room, so I'm going to sneak it down here. 35 and positive 12, so 5 and 7. X squared, 5x, 7x, 35, x, 5, 7. So that's an x plus 5, x minus, x plus 7. Okay, so now that I have all 4 of those parts factored, I now just start canceling. So if there's 1 on the top that matches 1 on the bottom, I cancel it out. Cancel, cancel. So my final answer here is that I had a 2x minus 11 on top. I don't need to put that in parentheses because there's only one thing up there. And x plus 2, x plus 7. And that's the answer. Division is pretty much exactly the same. There's only one other thing that's different about it. What's different is if this was a homework problem, I wouldn't write this down on my piece of paper. We got to turn it into multiplication. So our first step is simply this. So that's exactly the same times, and I flip it. 5x squared minus 8x minus 13, x squared plus 5x minus 36. So all I did is I flipped this here, and then I kind of want to cross this out because I don't want to look at that and be confused by it. Then it turns just into the problem, just like the problem I just did. So I'm going to make a long bar. I'm going to say, okay, I've got an x plus 9, and then I'm going to factor all the different parts. I'm going to start by factoring this up here. So 5 times 13 is 65, negative 65, negative 8. Let's see here. and I'm trying to get a -8. Oh, well, that's just 5 and 13, isn't it? So 5 and -13 will give me -8. So then make my box. 5x squared, 5x, -13x, -13, 5x, x1, -13. So my part for that is 5x minus 13 and x plus 1. Okay. Next we have 7 and 8. So that's 1 and 7. X squared, 1x, 7x, and 7. So we get x, x, 1, 7. So that bottom, this part right here is x plus 1, x plus 7. And then finally is here, which is going to factor to -36 here, 5. So that's 9 and 4, where the 4 is negative. Okay. So then the box for that is x squared, 9x, minus 4x, -36, x, x, 9, -4. And we get x minus 4, x plus 9. Okay, and again, now we have everything factored. We're going to just cancel out anything that has a match with the top and the bottom. So x plus 9 has a partner, x plus 1. So the final answer here is 5x minus 13 over x plus 7, x minus 4. Let me just double check that I did all the problems. I did the first one. So factor top and bottom and cancel. Second one, get the bottoms to match. And then once they match, you can add. Third one, factor everything, make one long bar and then cancel. Fourth one, flip the second one, make one long bar and then factor everything and cancel. Fifth one, get the bottoms to match. Make sure you move that plus sign up. And that's it. Let us know if you have any questions or need any help. Good luck on the test.